next important class in bridges, components of bridges. So the components of bridges class is also very important class for almost all competitive examinations. Just like types of bridges, components of bridges also very important. Even loadings of bridges is not mentioned in the syllabus, but still that is also very important topic for almost all competitive exam. We will be covering that also along with the bearings. So anyway, getting into the topic, first topic, components of bridges. Before entering into the topic, the bridge structure is actually divided into 3 levels: foundation level, substructure level, superstructure level. Okay, so where are these levels we will see. Okay, so here you can see different types of group of piles. So these are pile foundation. There is no rule that you must use a pile foundation. You can sometimes use a spread footing also if the load is very less. So in general you will have a pile foundation. Over this you will have a pile cap. Group of piles is connected by pile cap to spread the load. Okay, so till this level where you have the piles, this is called foundation level. This is called foundation level. So these piles are connected by pile cap. So over this pile cap the load is coming through pier. Pile is different from pier. Even the way it takes the load is completely different. The pier takes the load by shear action. Very important. But the pile here is taking through axial load. So the pier takes the shear load and transmits through pile cap. So this will take the load in the form of axial or shear. It depends on various situation. But by the definition of pier itself, we can say that a pile is something which takes the load in the form of shear. Okay, so from the bridge it will take the load in the form of shear. Okay, so over the pile you will have over the pier you will have pier cap. Over the pier cap you will have something called bearing. You will have something called bearing. So till that level, till the bearings level below the deck slab, we call the structure as, so this is foundation, that is pile level, and this is substructure, and over the deck slab we call it as superstructure. Okay, we will discuss this again. So initially group of piles connected by pile cap. Over the pile cap, pier column. So piers sometimes are constructed similar to walls also, that is column pier we call, and wall pier. Wall piers is very rare, generally column piers are more common. So this pier generally take the load through shear. Okay, so that is also important bit. So over the pier you will have something called pier cap. Over the pier cap you will have the bearings of the bridge. Over the bearings of the bridge we will have our deck slab or girders, or we can say girder slabs. Okay, so this is the typical cross section. So here we can say the pile layer is foundation, till the deck slab is called substructure. There is one more thing we have to know, not only single pier, sometimes we also can have group of piers. So when group of piers are connected, this is called bent. This is called bent. Okay, all things are important whatever I mentioned in the class. Okay, next. So already we have seen what is pier, what is pile cap. So this is piles, this is pile cap. Here you see there are two piers. So when there are combination of piers, we call this as bends. Okay, over this you have bearing. So I think it is clearly visible for you. So this is pier, this is pier cap. Over the pier cap you will have bearing. Okay, next. In the superstructure we have the deck slab, where the distance between the center to center distance, this is known as effective span. The name of this span is effective span, denoted by small l, whereas the length of the bridge, the total length of the bridge is denoted by capital L. but the span of the means between the two supports we call this as effective span. This is span of the bridge. There are these two L's are different again. Okay. Next component abutment I will discuss later. Over the deck slabs, so depending on whether it is a railway or whether it is roadway, so for if it is roadway we will have different types of joints like construction joint, expansion joint, everything whatever we discuss in the road pavement. Deck slab we already discussed. Anything else? Yeah. Below the bridges you may have road level or you may have water level. So if there is road level you will have a ground level if there is water. So if there is water, then already I discussed this is effective span, right? So what is the maximum amount of water level that can come for the bridge? This is known as high flood level. This is known as high flood level, and the way in which the between the bridges, the way through which the water is flowing, that is known as waterway. Waterway. Place below the bridge where water is flowing. Next, what are the other things we have to know? So this is high flood level. So from the high flood level till the slab deck, whatever the distance that we have to provide, this is known as freeboard. This is known as freeboard. Means from the high flood level, how much gap you should maintain for the deck slab, this is known as freeboard. Okay. Next, for this water level, from the upside and downside, if you observe, there should be a difference in water level, right? So that difference in water level or between upstream and downstream is known as afflux. Difference in water level in upstream and downstream. Obviously, because of the level difference only water will be flowing, right? And here there is one more thing we have to know. So because of this reason, as the water is flowing, which will cause the which will create the load on the pier. So for this, to cut off this, a pier cross section will be generally designed something like this. It's not visible here. So along the cross section, if you draw, it comes something like this. So this side we call this as cut water. So somewhere here you will get the center line of the bridge. So if this is the center line of the bridge, I am drawing like this. Okay. And this side is known as ease water. So upstream side is known as cut water, downstream side is known as ease water. You will get a question, water in the bridge will flow from ease water to cut water or cut water to ease water. So the water will flow from upstream to downstream, means from cut water to ease water. So this cut water is to reduce the eddies that is present in the river water to avoid the damage for the pier. Okay, so this is also very, very important bit. Okay, so afflux, waterway, freeboard, bed level, expansion joint or construction joint. That's it. So these are the okay. One more thing. Here you see approach slab. Sometimes for a longer bridges, generally not for smaller bridges, for longer bridges, before entering into the bridge itself, some entry slab will be there. Means before entering the bridge itself, there will be a way that is called approach slab. So generally for more than 30 meters, we generally take this approach slab. So when there is a when there is a approach slab, when there is a greater than 30 meter span, we construct approach slab before entering into the bridge. So this is similar to how we suppose if you want to divert a river water into a canal, directly we don't divert into a canal, we create something called approach channel. So through the approach channel they will travel. Even in diversion head works, we construct something called marginal bunds, guide banks to guide into it. So similarly, while entering into the bridge itself, we create something called approach slab before entering into the bridges to take care of the loads. So if a train is coming, a big load, before entering into the bridge, for a smooth transition, there will be a approach slab here. On other side you will have approach embankment. Okay, so that is approach slab and approach embankment. Next, abutment. For the bridges, on the both sides you will have earthwork that is supported. So supporting that earthwork, we construct a retaining wall or a structure that is known as abutment. For this abutment, there will be some extension or support, we say. That extension is called wing wall, or sometimes it is called return wall, when I will tell you. Okay, so first of all, what is abutment means? For both sides of the ridge, whatever the earthwork that we are constructing for the support, for this we construct something called abutment for the earthwork. So it is a type of retaining wall only, we can say. Okay, so for that abutment wall, this is earthwork, so you can say this is complete abutment. So for that abutment, we can say abutment wall we are constructing. Okay, so for that abutment wall, some extension will be there, that is called wing wall, that is called wing wall or return wall. When the, so what is that wing wall? I will show you in another picture just to get a clear idea. So here you can see, so for this abutment you are having a wings like this, you see, this is known as wing wall, this is known as wing wall. So these are like inclined extension. So if these are made perpendicular to the abutment, then they are called return wall. For the abutment, if it is constructed like wings, they are called wings. If it is constructed perpendicular, then that is called return wall. That is the basic difference. So we call it as wing wall and return wall. Okay, so that is all we have to know. Okay, so next, coming to abutments, there are different types of abutments we can create. So first thing is gravity abutment. So the word itself says based on its weight of the action only, it will just like gravity dam, the load from the earthwork is supported by its own weight, that is known as gravity abutment. Okay, and the second one is counterfort abutment. So counterfort abutment means you will have counter walls. So just like counterfort retaining walls, this is counterfort abutment. Next, third one, U abutment. So in this U abutment, the shape itself says it is in the shape U, where this acts as guide walls actually, or wing walls we can say. Sorry, return walls or wing walls. Means during manufacture itself, both abutment and wing walls are combinedly manufactured, so that no extra wing wall is required. You will get a question, which type of abutment do not require a wing wall? The answer is U abutment, because already it is having a extra support wing wall. And the last type of abutment is stub abutment. We also call this as pier abutment, where below the abutment it is supported by piers. So here you can see pile cap, here you can see pile. So this is a sloping abutment. So over the piles you will be constructing a abutment. So generally of smaller sizes abutment we will be creating this. So here there is one important question we have to know. This type of abutment pier. So these are different types of piers that we use depending on shapes. So this abutment piers generally used for every 4 spans in arch bridges. This is important bit. Why means, in arch bridges generally when there is an earthquake that takes place, by constructing this abutment pier for every 4 spans, the effect of the earthquake over the bridge localizes. Localizes means the effect will be only within that, means it will separate. So the effect will cause only for that. So to localize the earthquake effect for arch bridges particularly, a series of abutment piers will be constructed. This is one important bit we have to know. Okay. Wing walls we have discussed, slope. Okay. approach, okay, so everything we have discussed here, flux, freeboard, okay. Next, so we have to construct a bridge between this point to that point. When we have, so the cost of construction of bridge depends on so many factors. The main cost that comes is construction of abutment. So based on the construction of abutment, which span length will give us the least cost, that is known as economic span length, that is known as economic span length. So economic span length can be, that effective span length can be derived by constant cost of the pier divided by the constant value. Important formula, remember, in exam also you may get a question. So it is given by cost of the pier divided by the constant A value. That A value also they will give in examination. I wrote an example also. If the cost of the pier construction is just approximation, some 23,000 rupees, divided by the constant value is 104, means the effective span should be 14.5 meter. The economic span will be 14.5. Okay. Next, the total length of the bridge should be n into length of the span, n into effective length of the span plus width of the span into n minus 1. Means whatever the width, while calculating the span width we reduce the breadth, right? So if you add that breadth, the total length of the span will come. Okay, so this is also important. Okay, so apart from the span length we should add the breadth of the pier also, width of the pier also, that's all. So n into L plus n minus 1 into B. Okay, so this is also important question. Okay, wing wall we discussed. Curtain wall. So in some cases to avoid any entry or just like how our home will have a curtain, so similarly we will have something called curtain walls also for the bridge. So it's not visible here, so generally at the entry we will have some curtain wall. It's not mandatory for every bridges. So here we can see overall piles, pile cap, pier cap, bearings. Bearings is a separate topic, we will discuss that in detail, types of bearings. Girder bridge, bearing, substructure, foundation, wing wall, abutment, header, pier, stream bed. So stream bed is nothing but bed slope, wing wall, everything we discussed. So girder, bearing, coping, abutment, pier. Okay, over the road bridge also will have similarly will have curbs at the end of the road. We will have camber for the road, we will have SSD for the road. All these elements, whatever we read in the highway, the same things will be there here also. We need not read that separately. Whatever that are related to, even if it is railway, whatever the components we study in railway, most of the things will come similarly in here railway engineering also. Same SSD, OSD, whatever we study in transportation, same things will come here also, obviously. What are the specific rules we have to remember? I will discuss that separately for this. Okay, so regarding components of bridges, these are important things we have to remember. Okay, so that's all about components of bridges. In the next class we will discuss different types of bearings. So bearings are which place here. So what are the different types of bearings that we adopt while constructing the bridges, we will discuss here. Okay.